Mr. Moore's math class!
Good afternoon and welcome guys to Mr. Moore's online flip classroom. That's right, I'm very excited to be teaching here today because we are going to be starting a brand new topic called quadratic functions. In fact, let's just call it Season 2 of Mr. Moore's Math Methods class. Now, it's not going to have all the thrills and spills, I understand, of all the other Season 2 episodes that you've downloaded before from other series. Alright, I mean, we're not going to have the hunks that you would normally find on Home and Away. And I guess we're not going to have all of the explicit content that you guys will find so exciting of Breaking Bad. What I can promise to bring to the series though, is something that's a little bit like the opposite of Lost, mixed with the TV show Glee. Now what I mean by that is I promise, unlike that ridiculous series called Lost, to actually make sure that I leave each episode with no questions unanswered. And of course, like Glee, you're going to hear a bit of mixed with some dancing. Now, as I said, this topic is all about quadratic functions. And the very first lesson in this topic is to learn how to expand quadratic expressions. So let's just take the expression above for example, shall we? Now this expression can actually be expanded in one of two ways. You can either use the FOIL method, which is where you multiply the first terms, then you multiply the outside terms, then you multiply the inside terms, and then you multiply the last terms. The other method that you could use is the smiley face method, which is where you draw lines making it look like a smiley face and just multiply along the lines. Now let's just have a look at a worked example on how to do this correctly.
Alright, so it's now time to have a look at how to expand quadratic expressions. And in order to do this, we use a quadratic expression 3x minus 2 in one bracket and 4x plus 1 in another bracket. And we'll call 3x term 1, negative 2 term 2, 4x term 3, and 1 term 4. So in expanding quadratic expressions, the first thing to do is multiply term 1 by everything in the second bracket. The second thing to do is multiply term 2 by everything in the second bracket. And the third thing to do is collect like terms and simplify. Okay, so let's actually have a look at how to do this using this example here by using these three steps. So the first step is to multiply term 1 by everything in the second bracket. There's term 1 being this one here, and we're going to multiply it by everything in the second bracket. So let's just draw some lines to it. That one there, and then that one there. So 3x times 4x, well that's going to be 3x times 4x is 12x squared, because 3 times 4 is 12, and the x times x is x squared. Alright, done that one now. The next one is 3x times 1, so 3x times 1 is just going to be 3x, so plus 3x. The next thing now to do is multiply the second term by everything in the second bracket. So that's this one here, negative 2, and we're going to multiply that by everything in the second bracket. So negative 2 times 4x, and then negative 2 times 1. Keep it in the same colour, so negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x, and negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Collecting like terms now, you can see that we've got an x squared, 3x, negative 8x, and negative 2. So the like terms, of course, are negative 3x and negative 8x. Collecting like terms now, you get your 12x squared, 3x minus 8x is negative 5x, and negative 2 at the end. And of course you read that out as being 12x squared minus 5x minus 2. Alright, so now let's attempt these questions. We've got 4x plus 1 and 5x minus 7. So first one multiplied by both of them, so 4x times 5x and 4x times negative 7. 4x times 5x will be equal to 20x squared, because 4 times 5 is 20, and x times x is x squared. 4x times negative 7 is negative 28x. There you go, 1 times 5x and 1 times negative 7. So 1 times 5x is positive 5x, and 1 times negative 7 is negative 7. Collect like terms now, you're going to get 20x squared, negative 28x plus 5x is negative 23x, minus 7. Right, expanding the 3x minus 2 squared. What I recommend you do is you just write it out again like this, 3x minus 2, and because we're squaring it, write it out again like such, because what it's saying is that times itself. So it's just rewritten it out differently. And of course you go through the same method again. So you get 3x times 3x to start off with, and 3x times negative 2 for the next one. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared, 3x times negative 2, of course, is negative 6x. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x again, of course, and negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And that there, of course, is equal to 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. Now if you actually have a look at this, what you've got here is 3x squared. If you take that down here, you get 9x squared like that. Negative 2 squared becomes the positive 4, which is the end. And the negative 12x, what you can actually do is we can multiply the 3 by 2, gets us 6, times it by negative 2, gets us negative 12. So if you double this term here, and then multiply it by this, you'll actually get the coefficient of your middle term, or your linear term. Just a bit of a shortcut there, really. Right, this one here, you've got 4x plus 1 times 4x minus 1. So 4x times 4x becomes 16x squared. 4x times negative 1 becomes negative 4x. 1 times 4x becomes 4x. And 1 times negative 1 becomes negative 1. So that then gets you 16x squared. Negative 4x and 4x, well, they're going to cancel each other out because you're just going to get 0 minus 1. So when you've got difference of perfect squares, what I mean by that is it's pretty much exactly the same brackets, but you've got a plus and a minus, and you essentially just square the 4x, getting your 16x squared, and you always have a minus because the positive and the negative will make it a minus, and you square the 1. So you get 16x squared minus 1. Once again, just a little shortcut there. For this one here, you can see you've got a number at the front, but what we'll do is we'll expand the brackets first. So you get 2x times 3x. So we'll write negative 3 just out the front, just as usual. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times negative 1 is minus 2x. 4x times 3x is 12x. And 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Collect like terms again. Negative 3, 6x squared. Negative 2x plus 12x is 10x, positive 10x, minus 4. And we now multiply everything by the negative 3. So you get negative 3 times 6x squared is negative 18x squared. Negative 3 times 10 is negative 30x. And negative 3 times negative 4 is plus 12. Alright, so it's now time once again to press pause and attempt the following questions. Remember to press play once you're finished and check your answers against mine. Right, so expanding this, the first term gets us 5x times 4x, gets us 20x. 5x times 7 gets us 35x. Negative 2 times 4x gets us negative 8x. And negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Combining the middle two terms now, you get 35x minus 8x, of course, is 27x. So that gets you 20x squared plus 27x minus 14. Question 2, once again I've rewritten out the expression, but instead of writing it with the squared symbol, I've actually just written it out twice as brackets. So 2x plus 3a times 2x plus 3a. And you get 2x times 2x gets us 4x squared. 2x times 3a gets us 6ax. 3a times 2x gets us 6ax again. And 3a times 3a gets us 9a squared. Combining the middle two terms once again, because they're like terms, gets us 12ax. So you get 4x squared plus 12ax plus 9a. Going to part C now, multiplying the first two terms gets you 4m times 4m is 16m squared. 4m times negative 3 is negative 12m. 3 times 4m is 12m. And 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. These negative 12m and the positive 12m, of course, will cancel out, leaving us with 16m squared minus 9. And finally, let's expand the brackets first before actually going and taking into account the negative 7. So you get x times x is x squared, being here. X times negative t is negative xt. 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times negative t is negative 4t. Right, multiplying everything in the brackets now by the negative 7, so you get negative 7x squared. Negative 7 times negative xt is 7xt, because the negatives here will cancel out. Negative 7 times 4x gets us negative 28x, and negative 7 times negative 4t is positive 28t.
Alright, so now let's take it one step further and see if we can apply these skills to something a little bit harder. Let's check it out.
Alright, so the following example says expand the following. Now what you can see here is we've got actually two lots of the brackets that we actually had before in the previous worked example. So what we're going to do is treat it as exactly the same thing, but instead it's going to take us just a couple more steps longer. Alright, so what you can see here is we've actually got a similar question to what we had before, but you can see that there's two lots of brackets we now need to expand. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just treat it like we did with the previous question, but of course it's just going to take us a few steps more to figure it out. So when expanding these brackets, what we need to do is we need to multiply the x by the x, getting us x squared, the x by the positive 2, getting us positive 2x, the negative 7 by the x, getting us negative 7x, and the negative 7 by the 2, getting us negative 14. Right, then we've got the minus here, that's going to come down, and then what we're going to do is we're actually, because we've got the minus, we're going to put all of these things in brackets again. So we're going to get big brackets, and you're going to do 2x times the x, getting us 2x squared, 2x times 4, getting us 8x, that's positive 8x, negative 1 times x, getting us negative x, and negative 1 times 4, getting us negative 4, with the square brackets to finish that off. The reason I've put that in brackets is because it says minus, and what we're going to do is we've actually got to minus each one of these terms that you can see here. Alright, so expanding the brackets now, you get x squared plus 2x minus 7x minus 14. Taking the negative out now, you get negative times 2x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative times 8x is negative 8x. Negative times negative x is positive x. Negative times negative 4 is positive 4. Alright, let's collect like terms now, so I'll highlight anything that's a like term, so you can see the x squared here and the negative 2x squared, so that will get us negative x squared, because 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Going through and getting the x's now, so you go 2x minus 7x is negative 5x, minus 8x is negative 13x, plus x is negative 12x. And then finally we have negative 14 and positive 4, that will get us negative 10. So our solution to this when we expand it is negative x squared minus 12x minus 10. Okay, so now it's time to press pause and attempt the question in part B. Remember to press play once you've done this so you can check your solutions against mine. Alright, so the first step that you need to do is go 3x times 2x gets us 6x squared. Then 3x times negative 5 gets us negative 15x. 2 times 2x gets us positive 4x. And 2 times negative 5 gets us negative 10. Going to the next bracket now, you get 2x times 5 is 10x, 2x times negative 3x is negative 6x squared, 3 times 5 is positive 15, and 3 times negative 3x is negative 9x. Alright, what we're going to do now is expand the plus with the brackets here, so of course that's just going to leave everything as it is, being positive 10x, negative 6x squared, plus 15, negative 9x. What we're now going to do is go through and collect like terms, so we get 6x squared, and negative 6x squared will actually cancel out to become 0x squared. Collecting like terms with the x's now, you get negative 15x plus 4x is negative 11x, plus 10x is negative 1x, minus 9x gets us negative 10x. And finally the constant term, you got negative 10 plus 15 is equal to positive 5. Now of course we don't need to write out the 0x squared, so we just get rid of that, and that leaves us with negative 10x plus 5 down here.